Hey, my food is cold. Reheat it.
Yes.
Draw the bath and give me a beer.
Yes.
Hurry up! You're so clumsy. Why can't you get things done efficiently, you slug?
The abuse was hurled at me by my husband day after day. He sneered in satisfaction when he saw me biting my lip.
I'm the breadwinner of the family, so I must be the most respected. You can't live without me. A wife is expected to obey her husband. If you don't like it, show me you can make half of what I do.
He wasn't like this before. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm leaving you.
Ha ha ha, you idiot! You're gonna come back to me in a few days anyway. After all, you're just a housewife who doesn't make a penny.
A housewife? Unable to make a penny? What a ridiculous assumption. Whatever, he was going to realize that sooner or later. He'd know what a fool he was and who he turned against. I'm Kim, an ordinary housewife. I've been married for 5 years. My daughter Sarah is still a handful, but I'm basking in the happiness of parenthood. My husband Bill and I met at work. He worked in sales, and I was an administrative assistant in his department. He was the one chasing after me. We exchanged our numbers at an office party and hung out a few times. I was unsure about his forcefulness at first, but I fell for his masculinity and accepted his proposal.
I will make you happy for the rest of your life.
After the proposal, he asked me to quit my job and be a housewife.
My mom was a housewife, and my dad was a breadwinner in the family. I want us to be the same as them. My ideal family is one where my wife keeps the home.
He spoke enthusiastically and dreamed of creating a home as his parents did. He wanted me to support him as a traditional wife. Although I found my work at the company rewarding, I believed his words of "I will support you" and resigned from my job. When I thought about it afterward, those were such empty words.
Bring me a beer.
My husband never moved from in front of the TV, directing me with his chin. If there was even the slightest delay, he pounded the table. Soon after our marriage, his true nature was revealed. Bossy husband. No, it was antiquated harassment. Even companies nowadays didn't make their female employees fetch drinks. Apparently, it was a norm for the wife to silently obey the husband in his family. Don't overshadow me, make me look good, and don't embarrass me. I didn't know what kind of a relationship his parents had, but it seemed to be common knowledge that a wife was like a servant to her husband, at least in his mind. Wait, it was more like a slave.
Why is my dinner already cold? You must prepare a hot and delicious meal for me.
Because you came back so late.
No matter how late I come home, you must be prepared to welcome me back. Why don't you get that? I don't know what kind of discipline your parents gave you.
Then let me know before you come back at least. I can time your dinner accordingly.
Why should I be ordered by you, a housewife? I'm the one making the money. I'm the breadwinner in the family. How should I know what time I will be released from my boss? Does being a housewife make you lose common sense?
I mean...
Enough! Reheat my dinner, and draw the bath too.
Yes. He brought up the fact that I was a housewife every time. The one who made money was the ruler. I was a parasitic creature on him. His values seemed to be built all around money, yet he was incredibly carefree with it. Did you go gambling again? I've been asking you to stop.
Shut up! Gambling is my hobby. None of your business if I do.
Sarah is still small. We need money for childcare, and I want her to take some lessons when she starts kindergarten. I can't even buy her toys if you keep losing.
It's the role of the housewife raising a child to make ends meet. Stop being so hysteric. I'm already annoyed by losing a big game today.
You should take Sarah to the park once in a...
Shut up! I can do whatever I want with the money I make. Don't you cross me. You're just a housewife.
I was yelled at by an enraged husband every day. I never wanted Sarah to hear our arguments. Yes, if only I could be patient. But there was an incident that pushed my patience beyond its limit. It was when I returned home from out. Home? Why is my closet open? I remember closing it before I leave. I got a bad vibe and checked inside quickly. I was right. One of my bags was gone. It was an expensive and my favorite bag that my mom bought for me when I landed my first job. She knew firsthand how I struggled to find a job, so when it happened, she gifted me a designer bag. I had always cherished it, filled with the kindness of my beloved mother. When I asked Bill, he nonchalantly admitted,
Oh yeah, that bag. I sold it online.
Sold it? Why?
Because you spent on something that was beyond the means of a housewife. It was sold at quite good money. Supposed to be some kind of a designer's brand.
You're wrong. That was...
Anything you buy with my salary generally belongs to me. A housewife has no say in it if I sell it or whatever. Know your status.
You're horrible. I have my own private life too.
What private life? You forced me to look after Sarah and went out today, telling me you were meeting up with your friend. You bought unnecessary things again, didn't you?
I met up with my best friend from the university. It was something really important.
Anyway, you make no money, hence you have no right to argue with me. If you don't like it, show me you can make half what I do. I'm sure you can't.
He sneered at me. I no longer had any desire to argue with him, who declared,
Let's see if I can win tomorrow's game with the money from selling the bag.
Our heated argument finally reached Sarah's ears, and I heard her cry from upstairs. I couldn't stand him anymore. My patience had drained out. I had endured desperately until now, thinking if I just put up with it, it would be all good. But I couldn't take it anymore. He even messed with my fond memory of my mom. Not only that, our only daughter had finally heard us fighting. It made no sense to deal with him anymore. It definitely had a bad influence on Sarah. There was no way she was going to grow up to be an upright person living with such a father. I was determined to leave him and go back to my parents' house.
You're gonna come back to me in a few days anyway. After all, you're just a housewife who doesn't make a penny.
He never said a word to stop us from leaving. Rather, he was arrogantly assured that I would fail. He already made up his mind that I would end up begging him to take me back later. Let him be. I was determined to start a new life. We are home. Hi, sweeties. Are you okay? Such trouble you're in. Come inside. You must be hungry, Sarah. When I returned home in a gloomy mood, my parents warmly welcomed me back. They told me to stay as long as needed and were happy to have their granddaughter living with them. The warmth of a home made me weep for the first time in a long while. Now, sweetheart. You're still our daughter even though you've been away. Mommy. I'm okay, baby. We're gonna be happy from now on. Dad, Mom, thank you so much. We are so grateful. Our new life had begun lovingly. Sarah had always been fond of her grandparents, so she quickly adjusted to her new life. She seemed rather at ease in the environment with many people around. I was so glad it was before she started kindergarten. I could send her to the same place I went to from my parents' house. I myself had been feeling better. The stress from Bill had taken a considerable toll on my body without me even realizing it. I was able to eat double the amount. I enjoyed every meal just because Bill didn't scold me about the cold dish and told me to make better food. Naturally, I started to smile more. My friends were happy to see me feeling better. When the peaceful time had passed, I received a call from an unknown number. I felt a bit nervous, but decided to pick up the phone. Hello, is this Kim? I was astounded to hear the voice. It was my mother-in-law. She continued, I'm sorry to call you out of the blue. You and Bill are in such a situation. Hi, is something wrong? I need to tell you something. It concerns your safety. Also, I've been meaning to apologize to you. Anyway, listen. Bill came to see us last night. In summary, her story went something like this. He visited his parents to discuss the situation late last night. They found out that I took Sarah and left home, and were stunned to hear what he told them next.
Kim left and hasn't even come back to clean the house. Thanks to her, it's complete chaos now.
But Bill, she moved back in with her parents, right? So you have to do the cleaning yourself.
She left on her selfish will. She should at least come back to clean while I'm at work. Besides, she's a housewife. It's her job to take care of the house.
You're being ludicrous.
She couldn't even do the chores right from the time she was living there. She made up all sorts of excuses like Sarah was still young. The reason she went back to her parents was a reflect of her inability. She's going to learn everything again from her mother and change her attitude toward me. And yet, she's been neglecting the house for over a month now. Listen, have you ever thought why she left you? Huh? What do you mean, Dad? Like I just said, it's because of her inability. If you seriously believe that, she will never come back to you. She's hurt that you look down on her. Oh, whatever, Dad. A housewife obviously must obey her husband. She's supposed to support me, right? You guys have been like that too.
No way! I have never been looked down on by your father. I've been caring for him because I respect the man who works tirelessly for us from bottom of my heart.
And as for me, I truly love her. I've never thought she is lower than me. I don't have life as is without her. No, it's my fault if I made you believe that a husband is above a wife. I apologize to you and Kim. Before that, you must apologize to her. And while you wait for her to forgive you, reflect on what you have done. That's crazy.
He was completely denied his claim by his own parents, whom he was supposed to learn from. Even then his idea remained firm. No matter how hard they lectured him, he adamantly denied his fault. It would have been okay if it stopped there, but he sounded like he was coming to your parents' house to see you. He was like, I'm going to tell her how it should be. It made my husband and I worried about you. It's nice of you to let me know. Thank you so much for your concern. A part of us always worried that he may be treating you badly, but we are very sorry for not trying to get to the truth sooner. Whatever the situation turns out to be, we'll be on your side. Thank you. I will come and see you with Sarah once things settle. Watch out for Bill. You never know what he might do if he gets carried away. Her warning was realized soon after, when I was out leaving Sarah with my mom at home.
Hey, Kim!
Oh no, Bill! He approached me on the street. My husband, I see in a month, looks very disheveled. His shirt was shabby, and his suit was noticeably wrinkled, and didn't look like it had a single lint bulb removed. When I was home, I never missed a day taking care of his suits. Why are you here?
That's my line. What are you doing out here in the middle of the day, leaving Sarah alone?
Well,
you're all dressed up. Don't tell me you're going to meet some guy with a fancy makeup and tight skirt. You look like an Avon sales lady.
I'm just meeting my usual friend. None of your business anyway.
It's my business. I'm your husband. You must have bought these clothes with my salary. Don't you dare talk back to me.
He ran it as usual, but I had no reason to endure him anymore. I bought this with my own money. My makeup and shoes too. How am I supposed to spend your money when I'm not with you anymore in the first place?
Well, wait, you were squandering. That's why I got this stupid thing in the mail.
He confronted me with a paper bill.
Credit card payment. It couldn't be paid from my account. This never happened before you left home.
Oh, right, I got it. There was not enough money in his account, and the amount couldn't be debited, so there was a notice from the bank. He thought it was my fault for spending all that money. A shallow mind all the way. I sighed in pity.
What's wrong?
I couldn't help but feel sorry for you because you're so stupid.
Stupid? How dare you?
Yeah. You're the breadwinner who brings money, right? You're too stupid to keep track of your spending.
That's because you overspend.
I swear, I have not touched your money. There's no way even if I wanted to anyway. Because you don't make that kind of money to begin with. It seemed he was having a hard time understanding. I wasn't surprised. I explained to him in detail. Your cheap salary was never enough. It wasn't a problem for a family of 3 to live normally on $4,000, but it was impossible thanks to your gambling.
My gambling?
You lost a great amount, and yet the following week you had to do it all over again. Of course, no money left in the account. I was making up the shortfall to maintain the family finance.
What do you mean by making up? How do you get that kind of money? You are just a housewife. No way. You have a sugar daddy.
Stop saying vulgar things. I earned from a normal job. You were the only one who thought I was a housewife. I was making money from a remote job. I worked from home in between busy household chores. The job had been given by my best friend from the university. She majored in the French language with me. She had a consulting company for the translation business. I steadily built my own career by being entrusted with small jobs. Sometimes I was out to meet her for business meetings. It was never for useless shopping. My stupid husband never knew.
You say you were making up for my losses, but can you make that much money doing that job?
He finally seemed to believe me and asked me with a pale face. I proudly answered. It was very little at first. It's a kind of job where your experience is valued above all else. But I stuck to it and finally got my name recognized. Lately, I have been able to get some big projects. For this month, I'd say I'm at about $8,000.
$8,000?
As I recall, the one who makes the most money is above the other, right? My salary is double yours, so I'm way above you.
Well, that's...
I hate to say this, but I've done all the housework and child rearing on my own, as well as my job. Can you imagine how hard that is? You only work and gamble the rest of the time.
Wait,
He seemed to be shrinking. He couldn't have looked more pathetic. But the next second, he was on his knees on the ground.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I had no idea you had been covering for me.
Covering for you? No way. It was a tool to free myself from you.
I sincerely apologize. Please come back. The house is a mess without you. I don't know how to dress, and I'm bored of eating takeaways.
You still treat me as a housewife at this point. Seriously, you are incapable of learning. The breadwinner gets the higher rank, right? Then you clean and cook yourself. You who make cheap income. I quickly turned my back on him, who mourned in a pitiful voice. I was on my way to meet a client for a big project. I was dressed to impress and didn't have time to waste on a pathetic man. I turned around as I'm walking away with one more thought, showing a grin to tearful Bill. I've seen a divorce lawyer. The divorce papers should be sent to you this time, not the credit card bill. Please take care of it. He grunted something, and this time I didn't look back. A year later, I'm still working as a translator. My friend asked me to join her company, but I enjoy my work as is. I've got a translated mystery novel coming out with my name on it. Sarah started kindergarten. With the help of my parents, she quickly adapted and made friends. My ex-in-laws told me when I visited them once that Bill hadn't been able to reflect on what he had done. He told people around him he was glad to have gotten rid of a useless wife, which made his parents enraged and cut ties with him. Rumor on the wind is that he can't get rid of his gambling habit and is involved with a loan shark now. Maybe he still insists that a husband is better than a housewife, but that's no longer any of my business. I, with my parents and Sarah, will make our own family of 4.
My husband came back with his affair partner to a hotel. He thinks he's the manager, but he doesn't know.
What? Me? I was so surprised, I couldn't help but speak up. We think it's for the best.
Yeah, we talked it over.
My parents in those words made me overwhelmed. I wondered if it was right to entrust such an important matter to me. What I felt at first was more confusion than joy. My name is Gianna, and I am an ordinary office worker at a small business. While I was working hard, I quickly passed the age of 30. It's not that I don't have marriage in mind. In fact, I have a boyfriend named Owen. But there is a reason why I can't get married even after 3 years of dating. It's because Owen's father. He is a manager of a first-class hotel. Owen majored in economics at university and is currently studying hard to succeed his father. If I marry him, I will support him at a top hotel in a country. I was born into an average family, and I don't know much about management outside of my job. Would I be able to support my future husband as a manager? To be honest, I didn't have the confidence to go that far. It was the first time in a while that I had a paid day off, and I was having dinner with Owen.
You know, it's time to start preparing for the future.
Owen looked a little nervous, and he spoke to me. I turned to him and froze.
I know what you mean. I know what you're thinking about. You're feeling pressure because I'm going to be the manager in the future, right?
I nodded my head to his words.
It's not that I want you to do anything. I'm studying at my father's place so that I don't bother you.
But I still had something hazy in my mind. But I was born into an ordinary family, and I don't know if I'll fit in with Owen's parents.
Then don't worry. My parents are nothing like the celebrities you see on TV. Rather, they told me to have a good sense of money. When I was in elementary school, I didn't get any allowance.
Owen laughed and took a sip of water. I hope that's really true, but I'm not sure if someone like me would fit in.
Then, how about you come to my hotel as a guest?
What do you mean? Owen began to explain carefully.
There's a cafe on the first floor at our hotel. I'll bring my parents downstairs when the time is right. Then you know what they're like.
Is that really okay? Isn't it too much for you? Owen nodded his head and smiled.
If I can marry you, Gianna, this is nothing.
Hearing that, I felt my ears turn red. On the day of my appointment with Owen, I prepared a nice dress and a purse and headed for the hotel entrance.
Welcome to our hotel.
I bowed awkwardly to the porter's elegant greeting. Owen told me that some guests are there just for dinner, but Owen said it's fine to dress lightly. I didn't do anything wrong, but my heart is pounding so loudly. I can almost hear it myself. Just looking at the decorations in the lobby, I naturally feel more nervous. I asked the waiter for a cup of coffee and waited for them. While I was a little surprised and distracted by the price of the coffee, I heard a familiar voice.
Well, I'll give this apology gift to the customer later.
I moved my head to look at the front desk. I saw Owen talking with a staff member in a suit. His face looked more dependable than usual. He's probably giving them instructions. I can't interfere with his work. I can only imagine what he's doing. I couldn't help but smile when I saw Owen's work. After the staff went away for a while, an elderly couple came to Owen.
How'd it go?
Yeah, I just got the call. They said everything's fine.
Thank God. He's been a regular customer for over 10 years.
I recognized his parents from a distance. His parents are more gentle-looking and soft-spoken than I expected. I hope it's the same with me. I secretly texted Owen to let him know I was leaving soon and thanked him for making this day possible. They weren't as strict as I thought they would be, and I felt a great weight lifted off my shoulders. Well, I'll be myself in front of his parents. I don't have any special skills, but if that doesn't work out, that's just the end of the story. After several discussions with Owen, we decided on a date to meet his parents. Owen's father is very busy, so we are going to visit him at his work. Owen's mother seems to be looking forward to it. She was worried that her son might not be thinking about getting married. Hello! Welcome, Gianna! She made me feel more welcome than I expected. I'm still a little nervous. How do you do? I greeted her timidly. His father patted Owen on the shoulder with a smile.
I'm so relieved to see you have a good partner in your life.
Owen scratched his head, embarrassed but happy.
Well, Mom, Dad, I'm going to marry Gianna.
Those words made me more nervous. I wonder how his parents will react. I felt their eyes on me and looked up. They were smiling and nodding their heads. We are so happy to have such a lovely girl.
Now we can all rest easy. Haha.
They looked at each other happily. I had not expected such a welcome, so I was relieved. And at the same time, thankful that I was blessed with in-laws. My father-in-law is a kind man, and my mother-in-law has a certain elegance about her. But she treats me as if I were her own daughter. I talked to her a little bit, and she told me that she really wanted a daughter. I never thought I would have a daughter of my own. Thank you for joining our family. Yes, I'm so excited to join the family. I was so happy to hear her words that I unintentionally replied cheerfully. The wedding preparation proceeded at a brisk pace once they started. Of course, the wedding was to be held at Owen's parents' hotel. With the help of the hotel, the date and plans were decided in no time at all. My in-laws were so happy with the wedding that they decided on a very luxurious plan. I don't know the exact price because all the expenses were paid by my parents-in-law. But even I could understand at a glance that it was a very prestigious and luxurious wedding. My parents were literally rolling their eyes at the thought of me marrying the son of a distinguished family. They were relieved when I told them that I had been welcomed by his parents. They seemed to like Owen's good-natured personality. By the time he left, the mood was completely festive. I quit the company I was working for when I got married, and I started working for my father-in-law's hotel. At first, my in-laws didn't want me to take this job, just because they were concerned about me. Gianna, we are not trying to force you to work here, you know?
Yeah, whether you can keep your job or not, my son wouldn't make you feel poor.
They told me that. But when I saw what was going on at the hotel through my husband's work, I wanted to be involved. And as a wife, I wanted to support my husband. The management of the hotel was difficult, but I did my own research and I studied steadily by getting help from my husband and my parents-in-law. My husband was doing his best at his job, and my father-in-law said it was okay for him to take a step back. Then, my father-in-law was hospitalized after a cold got worse, so my husband became the manager. My father-in-law's health is gradually getting better, and Owen is taking over the hotel's know-how, so we don't have to worry about him. I'm sure you were just tired because you are a workaholic.
That's probably true. I think about work all the time.
Leave the hotel business to Owen. Please take a good rest. My parents-in-law and I had no doubt that my husband would take care of the hotel. But this was the root cause of everything coming after. For me, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Owen, who at first seemed to be doing his job as usual, 2 months after he took over as manager, little by little, he started to change.
How many times have I told you? Don't bring troubles to me. You stupid son of a bitch. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Get out of my sight.
I was at my father-in-law's hospital instead of my busy husband, and I rushed over to him. Hey, this is the lobby. You don't have to yell at him here.
What? I'm the one in charge here. Don't interrupt.
I was confused by the change in my husband and turned my head down, and I went down the hallway. I looked back and sighed of what I saw. When my father-in-law was a manager, that hotel had a certain elegance. It used to be a naturally relaxing hotel, but I'm not so sure anymore. Every few minutes, angry shouts echo through the halls, and the guests seem to be cramped. I'm sure my father-in-law would be sad to see this. My mother-in-law doesn't seem to approve of his ways either, though she was a bit hard on him from time to time. He's adamant that he is the manager and won't change his ways. I've seen my husband be faithful and humble, but I wonder if this is my husband's true nature. With my father-in-law's absence and himself on top, I thought my husband had changed completely. It seems that a decent manager has a great influence. The number of customers who used to come when my father-in-law was in charge has gradually decreased. And my husband has been going somewhere these days because he has free time. Of course, it's not to visit his father in the hospital. He's probably going somewhere for fun. But from there, people began to say they couldn't stand Owen's way. Many staff members resigned, including veteran executives who had been with the hotel since my father's time. Now, in addition to poor management, the hotel is facing the difficult problem of a shortage of employees. But instead of changing his attitude, Owen stopped coming to the hotel to escape from reality. I had to fill in for the missing employees. I worked as a waiter and did various other chores to make up for the shortage of employees. Thank you, sir. Please let me know if there is anything I can do. My service skills seem to be well received. I never thought my experience as a part-time worker in a cafe during my school days would come in handy. My mother-in-law was mainly running the business, making up for the lack of staff, just like me. I bet my husband would collapse if he saw us like this. All I could do was force a laugh at her sigh. I'm sorry I dragged you into this too, Gianna. I didn't mean to make you work like this. No, If I can be of any help, I'll do my best. It's not her or my father-in-law's fault. It's my husband, who's completely lost his mind. My husband began to repeatedly go out at night, knowing that his parents were doing all the chores. I, on the other hand, was trying to rebuild the hotel, in cooperation with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, who was getting back on track. I did everything from management to customer service. Thanks to that, the number of customers started to come back little by little. Some of the employees came back after my father-in-law told them about the situation. Little by little, the hotel's business situation returned to the way it was before. I noticed that the hotel became more profitable than before. I came up with some new ideas. In the course of my involvement in management, I started to organize events to target new customers. I came up with a number of family-oriented services. My mother-in-law said to me, "I'm sure it was all thanks to Gianna's ideas." I would smile and cover it up because I was embarrassed. I was relieved to see her happy face. When the business was going down, I was worried that the hotel would go bankrupt. Especially my mother-in-law. Perhaps because of the stress she was under, she had lost weight. Even then, my husband was escaping in reality and playing around. It was only natural that my father-in-law would be furious.
It was a mistake to let him take over the business,
he said angrily. But whatever the situation, we've been through a great ordeal. I felt a stronger bond with my in-laws than I had when we were first married. They're not just my husband's parents. They are like my real parents to me. After my husband abandoned his job, his father became the manager of the hotel again. I thought that was going to be the case for a while. But things have progressed in ways I never expected. A short time later, my husband came back to the hotel with an indifferent look on his face. "What's the matter?" I ran up to him, looked next to him, and stopped. There was a young woman standing next to him, dressed in a fancy dress. I was strongly convinced that the reason he hadn't come home for a while was that there was a woman. My husband looked at me working in the lobby and said,
"Why are you here?"
At the moment, he rolled his eyes. I remembered all the hardships I had gone through since my husband left, and I was filled with anger. "It's all because of you, isn't it?" I almost said it, but I swallowed it down. "I was just running an errand." My husband still looked at me quizzically as I replied,
"You can only do a few chores, can't you?"
He still couldn't understand what I was doing, and he was acting like the tyrant he'd been before.
"Well, now that the manager of this place has returned, from now on, you must obey my orders," he told me in an unknowing manner. His lover leaned on my husband's arm.
"Oh my gosh, you are so cool, Owen. I'm not even jealous anymore." My husband feels good about it.
"The hotel looks better than before, and the number of guests is increasing."
Ha! I guess it's the result of my training as a manager. He said something out of line and smiled confidently. It was obvious that he wanted to look good for his lover. Hearing the commotion, my parents-in-law came to see us. My husband looked proud.
"Great! Mom, Dad, I've got something to tell you."
And he pulled the woman next to him toward him. "Gianna, I want a divorce." "What?" I raised my eyebrows. When he finally came home, he suddenly asked for a divorce. I was so dumbfounded to say anything. Then a woman next to him started talking. "Yes, Owen is no longer interested in an old lady like you. And Owen is the manager of this hotel. I always wanted to be that kind of missus." The woman giggled and laughed ungracefully. I couldn't help but laugh when I saw them like that.
What's so funny?
My husband stared at me upset.
Don't tell me you are not divorcing me. I'm going to divorce you even if I have to hire a lawyer.
Fine. If you want a divorce, I'll give you a divorce. Then he looked at me with a blank stare.
Then, why are you smiling?
He didn't seem to understand my attitude, so he attacked me. Then I decided to explain the whole situation to him. I don't mind divorcing you, but you're not the manager anymore. When he heard this, he froze. The woman next to him, "What do you mean?" She looked up at him and asked him what I meant. When he came to himself, he was trembling with anger.
Don't talk nonsense. My father gave me the manager's position.
I wonder who was running the hotel into the ground and running away from reality. At these words, my husband's momentum weakened. And then my in-laws came in right away. "That's right. While you were playing around, Gianna was working very hard."
So what? I'm the manager anyway. That's why I appointed Gianna as a new manager.
What? Hearing this, my husband's face turned pale. That woman next to him also turned pale and asked him, "Hey, what does it mean? You said you were the manager."
I don't get this. Why?
As if to stop them from arguing, my father-in-law clears his throat.
Gianna was the one who turned the hotel around after it was on the rocks for a while. You, Owen, who ruined the hotel, and Gianna, who restored it. It's obvious who's more qualified to be the manager, isn't it?
But it's... And then my mother-in-law, who couldn't contain her anger, joined in. "The only thing you were worth is that you brought Gianna here." My husband gritted his teeth in frustration. His partner looks at my husband anxiously. My in-laws valued my management skills and new ideas. I'd been appointed manager in my husband's absence.
I was supposed to be the boss.
That's when my father-in-law interrupted.
You were on a probationary period. It wasn't long after that I fell ill, so it wasn't even formalized. What? No way.
My husband was stunned. I think he's finally starting to understand the situation he's put himself in.
That's why I am transferring all the rights to this hotel to Gianna. You were putting a stranger before your own son?
My husband started shouting, pointing at me and making a fuss. My mother-in-law stopped him with a snap.
Don't be rude to Gianna. Even if you divorce her, she is still our daughter. Even if you are related us by blood, she is much more reliable than an irresponsible son like you.
My husband was completely taken aback by his mother's words. The next thing I know, his partner is making a fuss. "What do you mean? I was going to leave my husband and get married to you because you said you were the manager." But my husband didn't want to argue anymore. "Let's just not make a scene here. Please, leave now." The affair partner also heard my words and fell silent. After that, my husband came to me trying to get back together with me. Of course, I have no intention to starting over with him. My husband was severely scolded by his father, and after filling out the divorce papers, he was cut tie from his parents. As for my ex-husband's affair partner, her husband found out about the affair and was demanding alimony. She doesn't seem too interested in my ex-husband anymore, who has now lost his family and his position as a manager. She accuses him of making a fuss about fraud. They are always fighting. On the contrary, our hotel is doing well today. It's recently featured in a magazine as a hotel with good service. Almost all the rooms are occupied, even on weekdays. I'm going to continue to work hard with people at this hotel. They are my family.
My husband was in a car accident and is in a wheelchair, but when I saw the drive recorder footage,
I am not gonna let you divorce him. Never. Yeah, Mom's right. I can't even walk.
That's what my mother-in-law and my husband told me. I married my husband Aiden because I loved him. Even though we are no longer lovers, I still love him dearly as a family. My mother-in-law was strict with me in some ways, but she never said anything unreasonable. My husband's always defended me. Then one day, he had a car accident. It was a big accident, and he didn't regain consciousness. While I was busy visiting my husband and dealing with the accident, I checked the drive recorder. When I saw the footage, I was astonished. I knew I could never forgive my husband. Everything that had happened seems to be a lie. When he regained consciousness, and he was wheelchair-bound, I said goodbye to him. My name is Hazel, a 35-years-old housewife. My husband Aiden and I got married 2 years ago. I was depressed for a long time because my ex-boyfriend, who had promised to marry me, dumped me. I met my husband at a party because my friends were worried about me and took me there. To marry my ex-boyfriend, I started working as a temp instead of getting a full-time job after graduating from college. My ex-boyfriend was a very kind man, and I thought I could build a peaceful family with him. But one day, he suddenly told me that he had fallen in love with a girl in the same class and broke up with me. He said he would pay me alimony for breaking off the engagement, but I refused and ran away from the house I was living with him. My husband was the opposite of my ex-husband. When he arrived at the party, when my friends took me for a drink,
Hazel, right? I'm Aiden. Your friend told me you went through a tough time.
He asked me right away. My friend had told him that I was not doing well. I'd been afraid to get involved with people since my ex betrayed me. It's been a while since I've been out to a party like this.
That's awesome. Here is to taking the first step. I know it's like to be cheated on. I had the same experience, you know. But it's a waste of time to stay depressed. Let's just enjoy today.
My heart, which had been heavy for a long time, felt a little lighter. That day, we had a lot of alcohol and a lot of fun. My husband and I exchanged the contact information. The next day, he contacted me and we decided to go out for dinner. While talking to him, I could forget the events of the day my ex-boyfriend dumped me that used to be always in my mind. After seeing Aiden for a while, before I knew it, I was no longer reminded of my ex-boyfriend, even when I was alone.
I'm happy to see you getting better day by day. And I'm going to keep making you happier, you know. Let's stay together, Hazel. I will never betray you.
When I heard these words, I knew I could trust him. We officially started dating. Every day was happy and fulfilling. Even though he was the same age as me, my husband was very dependable. When I had a bad day at work, he cheered me up like he did when we first met. My friends were surprised to see that I had become a different person from the one who had been depressed until a few months ago. After a year of dating, he proposed to me and we decided to get married. I was so happy to be able to marry to a person that I loved so much. When we went to my in-laws' house to say hello, I was so nervous that I couldn't stop sweating. My father-in-law was a man of a few words, but he tried to ease my nerves. My husband also showed me pictures from his childhood to ease my nerves. My mother-in-law was cheerful and true to herself. I don't know why you were so nervous about. I'm not against you getting married. We are going to be a family. She patted me on the back and said with a laugh. Hearing my mother-in-law's words, my nerves instantly relaxed. I'll teach you how to take care of the house, and I'll be strict with you. Mom, Hazel can do everything well without your teaching her. She doesn't need your help. My husband laughed and defended me. My mother-in-law heard what he said. I'm just joking. She laughed. My in-laws live far away, but we'll have a good relationship. That's what I thought. At the wedding, many of our friends celebrated with us. I was so happy that I cried all the time. For the first few years of our marriage, we were really in love. I was looking forward to my husband to coming home after work every day. I would get so much done because I knew the delicious dinner would be waiting for me. My husband's job required a lot of overtime. But no matter how late he comes home, he always eats my dinner. And he always raves about my cooking. And I just want him to praise me more. In my spare time, I look at recipe websites and more dishes to my repertoire. During New Year's, I visited my parents-in-law's house with my husband. My mother-in-law always teaches me how to cook. You should buy an instant pot. Try this meat. It's so tender, isn't it? Sometimes she was kind, of course, but more often she was stern. What are you doing? Well, then you are wasting your time. You need to be smart about what you're doing. I used to cook only for my husband, and I didn't have the skills to cook for other people. I was often told strictly, and it was a learning experience for me. My in-laws are not bad people. I think I was able to live peacefully. But maybe you are happy with just the two of you now. You should have kids soon. The only time I was hurt was when my mother-in-law told me about children. It's not that we don't want to have children. Of course, we want to have a child, but it's not that easy. My husband and I talked about it and decided not to have fertility treatment. It was maybe our fault for not talking to my mother-in-law about it, but every time we saw her, she would mention the child to our faces. Hey, Mom, we have our own timing. When my husband was around, he was quick to cover for me. When he wasn't, I just had to force a smile. A few times a year, my parents-in-law would come to visit and stay at our house. I didn't want my mother-in-law to say anything. So, when my in-laws come to visit, I clean the house from top to bottom. On the days when we eat home, I made more elaborate dishes than usual. I was so well prepared. She never said anything about the house. But she would still say something about the children. Each time, my husband defended me. Then time passed, and we were married for 5 years. Unlike when we first got married, we are no longer lovers. But that doesn't mean I don't love him anymore. He's still important to me. And we just have become family. I'm sure he's probably the same way. However, no matter how late he comes home, he always eats my cooking. We never had children, but I think we had a good relationship. I thought that no matter how old we get, we will live together with the same sense of distance. My relationship with my in-laws has not changed, and we still see each other a few times a year. The only thing that has changed is that I can talk back to my mother-in-law a little bit now. My mother-in-law is always talking to me about children. You know, what can't be done, can't be done. I can now say it in a joking way. My mother-in-law doesn't get angry at me for that. I know that, but I can't help saying it. I'm sorry. She started to laugh with me. Then one day, I received a call on my phone from an unknown number.
Hello? Is this Aiden's wife? Your husband has been in an accident and is in the hospital. Please come to the hospital right now.
I was so surprised that I couldn't catch up with what was going on. I immediately took a cab to the hospital. Coincidentally, my parents-in-law were visiting us that week. So in the cab, I called my mother-in-law. Mom, Aiden! It's Aiden! What? What's wrong, Gianna? Something happened to Aiden? He had an accident and was taken to the hospital. I couldn't speak properly because I couldn't stop crying. But my mother-in-law understood immediately. She was on a sightseeing tour with my father-in-law, but they agreed to come to the hospital right away. When I arrived at the hospital, my husband was in surgery. He was driving his car when he was hit from behind. The other car was driving very fast. He was hit hard. The hospital explained that he was unconscious and in critical condition. I broke down in tears, but my mother-in-law said, I'm sure Aiden will be fine. We just have to wait and believe in him. I was sorry that my parents-in-law were worried about me, even though it must have been hard for them too. It took a long time, but the surgery was a success and my husband survived. My parents-in-law and I cried in relief. After that, my husband's consciousness didn't come back easily. I took turns with my parents-in-law to make sure that he would wake up at any time. While my in-laws were left in church, I was busy dealing with the accident and other formalities. As far as the police told me, my husband was the victim of the accident. The other party was arrested for dangerous driving. However, the person tested that my husband was also at fault. I wanted to protect my husband. So I went to the location where the accident happened. The car was so damaged. I thought the drive recorder might have been destroyed. But miraculously, it was safe. I took the SD card and checked it with my laptop. And the footage was still there. After that, I headed to the hospital to switch places with my mother-in-law. I was almost at the hospital when I got a call from my mother-in-law. Hey, Gianna! Aiden has regained consciousness. She sounded so happy. I rushed to the hospital. Thank goodness! Aiden, you're awake! When I arrived at the hospital, I heard my mother-in-law's voice. My husband was able to talk as if he had been just sleeping. Oh, I was in an accident? I don't remember. When I heard he was awake, his doctor came to check on him, and we all talked to him. My father-in-law also came to the hospital with my mother. His doctor said that the surgery was a success, but he didn't know if we would be able to walk again. He said he would be in a wheelchair for a while and would do the physical therapy, but they can't promise that he will be able to walk again. The atmosphere in the room was heavy, as if it was a different place than when my husband woke up. Why? I can't walk? After his doctor left, my husband mumbled to himself. My mother-in-law said to cheer him up. We will help you as much as we can. Let's do our best in physical therapy so you can walk again. Right, Gianna? Instead of agreeing with her, I said, No, I'm leaving him. I want a divorce. Everyone there
was surprised at my unexpected answer. Huh? What are you talking about? In a situation like this, I'll never allow you to divorce my son. You heartless woman. My mother-in-law yelled at me. My husband continued. Yeah, Mom's right. I can't even walk. How dare you? My father-in-law was too shocked to say anything. Then, I took my laptop out of my bag and showed them a video.
What if someone finds out already?
It's okay. We're on break. No one from the office is going to come around here.
Your wife could be watching.
There is my husband and a young woman. The video showing of them talking to each other and making out. She was wearing the uniform of the company where my husband worked. From the conversation, it was clear that he had been having an affair with this woman. What the hell is this? When my father-in-law asked in surprise. No. It was just a fling. There's nothing between me and this woman. My husband was too nervous to explain himself. My mother-in-law seemed to be at a loss for words, perhaps because she was so surprised. I kept quiet and played the next video. I'm not doing well with my wife. I'm getting divorced soon. So, let's get married.
Really? Will you marry me?
My husband and the woman were talking to each other, giggling. How disgusting. What are you doing, Aiden? My father-in-law, who was always so calm, turned into an angry man. My husband was lying on his face. Aiden, you shouldn't cheat on your wife. Apologize to Gianna. And Gianna, forgive him, okay? Aiden's body is like this now. He can't cheat on you anymore. The mother-in-law, who had kept quiet until a few minutes ago, became impatient and started defending her son. Well, I want you to watch something else. And then I played another video. There was my mother-in-law and my husband. I want to see my grandchildren's face, you know? Mom, don't tell Dad, but I'm thinking of getting a divorce and remarrying. The next one will be young, so you'll be able to see your grandchild soon. Oh yeah? That's great. But if you cheat on your wife, she'll take all the money. Don't worry, I'm making sure she never finds out. As long as I come home and eat, that's all that matters to Gianna. She is happy as long as I eat her cooking. She doesn't seem suspicious at all. I'll pay it smart. Don't worry. You're so smart. I can't wait to see my grandchildren. My grandmother knew that my husband was cheating on me, and she agreed he would divorce me so she could see her grandchild's face. This is disgusting. How dare you two talk like this? I don't want this kind of wife or son. My father-in-law's face turned red and he got super angry. My mother-in-law and my husband are looking impatient, as if they don't know what to do. Which one of us is the heartless one? I'll divorce you, for sure. Why should I help you after all you have done? Please, be happy with your young lover. Goodbye. Wait. Gianna. Ignoring my husband's voice, I left the hospital room. My father-in-law followed me. Gianna, I am so sorry. He bowed deeply. It's not your fault. Thank you for everything. Please tell him that my lawyer will be in touch with him. As I walked out the hospital, the tears that I had been holding back began to flow. I wondered how long I had been deceived. I don't know. But now that I know, I was glad that I could leave him. The divorce went through without a hitch. I got a lot of alimony.
and of course, the other woman he was cheating on me with. The lawyer told me that she was a receptionist at Aiden's company. I was surprised to hear that she was just turned 20. They used to meet on their lunch break at a place a few blocks away from the office, and then go back to the office separately. The accident happened while my ex-husband was returning to his office alone. I was a little skeptical as to why he had an accident in his car while he was at work. But after hearing his story, it made sense. My lawyer told me that sometimes she and my ex-husband would take half a day off to visit his lover's house. He was being very thorough so that I wouldn't find out. I don't think my husband thought it would come out this way. And because the affair had become a rumor within the company, I heard that he had to quit his job. And the woman he had an affair with had to quit the company as well. She was young and had no savings, and had to borrow money to pay the alimony. At the same time, we divorced. My parents-in-law divorced. My father-in-law couldn't forgive my mother-in-law either. I was surprised when I heard from my father-in-law about the news. My mother-in-law rented a small apartment and are living together after my ex-husband gets out of the hospital. She couldn't afford to rent a handicap-accessible house because they had no money after paying the alimony. My ex-husband's working on physical therapy, but the chance of him being able to walk again is very small. The young lover left my ex-husband when she figured out he may never walk again. I have been living alone for a while now, but it's the first time in quite a while. I am studying to be a certified public accountant. If I get certified, I may be able to get a permanent job through a friend's introduction. I am looking forward to the new chapter of my life, and I will make sure I will enjoy every minute of it.
7 years after my husband's disappearance, he interrupts his father's funeral and starts talking about his inheritance, but...
I'm off then. See ya. After those words, my husband never came home. He disappeared, and the police couldn't find him. I see. He just ran away, didn't he? Maybe he got tired of you. My sister's words sent chills down my spine. My name is Ella. I was born a twin sister. We have the same face, but my parents have always loved only my sister, Charlotte. Dad, Mom, please give me some money. I'm going out with friends.
Have you already spent the allowance this month?
Yeah, I have. Please, Dad. I promise I'll do well on the final.
Okay, then here you are.
Yay! I love you, Daddy. My sister has a cunning nature and charming, so my parents always spoiled her. On the other hand, me, who was quiet and reserved, always neglected. Dad, I need to buy a reference book for my science homework.
I already gave you this month's allowance. Use it wisely.
Oh, okay. My sister became even more selfish and wanted everything I had. Hey, Ella, I like your outfit. I want it. What? No, please don't open my drawer. I bought this with my allowance. I'm sure it looks better on me. I'll take it. Hey, give it back to me. Mom, Ella's being really mean.
Ella, be nice to your sister. Just give it to her.
But why? My parents only listened to what my sister had to say and wouldn't listen to me. Whatever she likes, she'll have it. And my stuff being taken away from me as she pleased. I spent my days patiently enduring. Fortunately, after graduating from college, I got a job in a place far away from my parents' house.
I hardly had to see my parents or my sister anymore, and it made me feel better. However, because I was always compared to my sister and neglected, I did not have self-confidence and was never involved in anything fun. I lived my life working diligently and steadily. It was during this time that I met a future husband, Daniel. We often met for business meetings. Here you are. Please check the document. Thank you. Wow, you've gone into such detail. I hope it will be useful. Of course. I'm always grateful to you. If you would like, can we have dinner together sometime? Dinner? Oh, sure. I have never had a dinner alone with a man before. I assumed it would be just another business meal. Then he started asking me out to eat with him. And one day, Ella, would you be my girlfriend? What? Me? Are you serious? Yes. You're a beautiful person inside out. I love everything about you. I can't believe that someone would tell me things like that. I was surprised, but at the same time, my heart filled with joy. I'm so happy. Thank you, Daniel. My eyes welled up, and we officially started dating. He is a hard-working and sincere person. He works for a big company and earns good money, but he isn't a spender, lives a solid life. After a few years of dating, we got married. I became a full-time housewife and moved in with my in-laws' house. Mom, Dad, this is Ella. She's a family now. Welcome, Ella. I hear you're a good, hard-working girl. We are going to be a family now. So don't be shy, okay? Okay. Thank you for your warm welcome. I was relieved that they both welcomed me with a smile. They run a small business and their house is quite big. My in-laws and I were able to build a great relationship, and we respected each other. Why don't we all go out for dinner today? Anything you want to eat, Ella? Anything you like? Really? I feel Italian would be good. Italian sounds good. I heard there is a new restaurant opened across the street. Yeah, let's go there then. Ella, order whatever you like. My in-laws are very friendly and always make me happy. Ella, this necklace would look good on you. I used to wear it, but would you like to have it? Wow, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm glad you would wear it for me. You are my daughter now. My parents-in-law love me and treat me like a real daughter. What a blessing to be in a family with such a good people. It's so different from when I lived with my own blooded family. I have a home now, where I can feel safe and a family that appreciates me. I thought this happiness would last forever. But, has Daniel come home yet? No, I tried to contact him, but he didn't return my calls. He didn't reply to any of my messages. It's too late. Do you have any idea where he might be at? No, I can't think of anything. I'll check with his friends. One day, out of the blue, my husband disappeared. He went to work and never came home. I checked with his coworkers and friends, but no one had any idea where he went. I reported to the police, but they had no clue. I was worried that he might have been in an accident somewhere. The sudden disappearance of my husband changed our peaceful, happy life. I felt nothing but anxiety and despair. I was at my wit's end, not knowing what to do. All I could do was wait for him all day. And my parents-in-law sat on the sofa and cried, worried about my husband. Where did he go? I can't believe he just disappeared like that.
Nobody knows how or why it happened. But maybe I did something to hurt him without my knowledge. It could be my fault. When I saw my in-law's sad face, I somehow blamed myself. If it's my fault, there's no place for me in this house. We've come so far as a family, and I believed this was where I belong. I was so overwhelmed with despair that I hid myself in my room and cried. Then I got a call on my cell phone. Is it my husband? I picked it up and saw the screen, but it was from my sister, Charlotte. She calls me every once in a while, but most of the time, she would just brag about things and talk one way or the other, and making me feel like an idiot. I always let her talk and not listening to her seriously. But this time, I was so distressed that I told her about my situation. Hey, what's up, Ella? Not good, actually. What's wrong? You sound serious. My husband disappeared. What? The boring husband I saw at the wedding? He disappeared. So I reported to the police, but they couldn't find him. Oh, really? He just ran away, didn't he? Maybe he got tired of you. She laughs like she makes fun of me. Maybe that's one possibility. I blamed myself more than I was angry at her insensitivity. I am not aware that I did anything to my husband. Again, I started to feel it was my fault. I was tormented by guilt and blamed myself day after day. I couldn't even eat properly. Maybe I should leave this house now. Then one night, I couldn't sleep and I went downstairs to drink some water. Then I heard my in-law's voice from the living room. What is he thinking? This is not right. This is too hard. But I'm sure Ella is having the hardest time. Yeah, you're right. I can't believe how much she's been through after his disappearance. I feel sorry for her. It doesn't make any sense for him to leave such a good wife behind. It only makes sense he just got involved in some kind of an accident or something. Yeah, I can't think of any reason why he would run away. While I was listening to my parents-in-law's conversation on the stairs, I bursted into tears. More than themselves, they care about me and were concerned about me. I couldn't stop crying because of the kindness of my in-laws. I should not be at a loss forever. My parents-in-law are also suffering from the loss of their own son. I have to support them as a daughter, and I was determined to get back on my feet. I made your favorite cherry pie today. Let's eat it together. Whoa, Ella, this smells good. If you were to get sick, I'm sure Daniel would be sad. So, cheer up. Yes, you're right, Ella. Thank you. Meanwhile, I went around talking to colleagues and friends, trying to find out where my husband might be. I kept looking for him, but I couldn't find him. Then I noticed that $100,000 was missing from my husband's bank account. I talked to the police, but there was no progress. Since there was no clear case, the police seemed to think he was a runaway. I'm home. I'm sorry I'm late. Hi, Ella. Any leads? No, nothing particular. I guess the police wouldn't look for a missing adult. Anyway, I bought some cupcakes on the way home. You like them, right? Oh, thank you, Ella. They look delicious. My in-laws still look a little anxious, but they were starting to get their strength back. We helped each other, encouraged each other, and lived together like a real family. Then, 7 years after my husband's disappearance, my father-in-law passed away. He was hospitalized for a while due to an illness, but the treatment was ineffective. He passed away peacefully in his hospital bed. When my mother-in-law and I were in tears after the funeral, we heard a familiar voice.
Hello, I'm back.
Hey, Ella. It's been a while. What?
Daniel.
To my surprise, my husband showed up at my father-in-law's funeral, and he was with my sister Charlotte. What? Why? Where have you been?
Well, actually,
according to my husband, he was living at my parents' with my sister. 7 years ago, my sister stole my husband and got pregnant. It seems my parents were in on it too, helping my husband disappear.
I heard my dad passed away, so I'm here to receive an inheritance.
He wasn't even hesitate to say what he was after. He had been living off his savings. Are you crazy? How selfish! My mother-in-law and I are trembling with anger. You don't know how it was like for my father-in-law to die with all that worry.
At first, I devoted my life to you, Ella. But no matter what you do, you were always too lame. It was no fun to be with you.
You're right. Ella, it's super boring.
But your sister here, Charlotte, you have the same face and you were so different. When I met Charlotte, my life changed. She was perfect for me. I felt really happy when I was with her. I couldn't have kids with you, Ella, but I had a kid with her instantly. Charlotte and I were meant to be together.
My husband started to justify his infidelity with a theory that is too selfish. And my sister, who didn't even get a job in her entire life, found out at our wedding that my husband worked for a big company and earns good money. Approached him behind my back. You thought you could take my things like you used to do. Some good money this time, right? Whatever. He just came to love me more.
Anyway, I'm the son. I have the right to inherit Dad's money.
Yeah, he's got to have what he's entitled to.
She's right. I have a right. So, give me my money.
It seems like my sister brainwashed him into coming to his parents' house to ask for money. I can't believe he's become such a pathetic human being.
That's enough. It's not gonna happen.
It was my mother-in-law who couldn't hold back and lost her temper first.
Why? It's my money.
I don't care how many times you ask for it.
Go home. I'll be back. Prepare my money next time.
My mother-in-law was so furious that my husband and my sister left. But after that, they started following me and my mother-in-law around.
Hey, just give it to me already. I have to pay back the money.
I don't care. It's your debt.
It's my money, and I'm supposed to get it.
Yes, you have to give it to us. Why should I give it to you? Now, leave. My husband and my sister wouldn't give up no matter how many times I asked them to leave. I was about to turn them away when my mother-in-law came out from the back.
Are they here again?
Yes. My sister attacked my mother-in-law, who was showing a disgusted look on her face. Your son is begging, but you're just acting like a bitch.
My son is dead.
Huh? My husband and my sister
got speechless at my mother-in-law's firmness. There is a grave in the backyard. What? No way! They rushed to the cemetery, in the woods behind the house. The gravestone is indeed inscribed with the husband's name. My husband was supposed to have died as a result of his disappearance. 7 years after the declaration of disappearance, the person can be declared dead in the family register. This is why my mother-in-law inherited the entire fortune. My marriage to Daniel was already being dissolved. Hey! I am alive! You see me right here.
Yes, he is alive. So he should get the money, right?
My ex-husband and my sister are screaming in a panic.
Well, you were so lucky, you know. I'm not claiming any alimony from you two for cheating.
Because he's already dead. What? Alimony?
If you keep following me around asking for money,
I'll deal with you in a harsh way. Hey, wait! I'm your son. It's my money. And that's not fair. I'm telling you, my son is dead.
You're his mother. You are really a bitch. You see him standing right here.
If my ex-husband were still alive, I'll be suing him for alimony.
Well, he betrayed his family, so I'm sure he'll pay plenty of alimony. If only he was alive.
Oh, shoot.
Got it? So, I am not giving you any money. Now, leave. My ex-husband and my sister were playing the victim, and we coldly rejected them. They left in a huff when they heard the word alimony. After that, my parents came crying to me, as if they had heard the story from my sister.
We're really in trouble. We have a lot of debts, and we need your help.
Yes, we are family after all.
Family? You've taken away my husband and tortured me for a long time. I'm not going to give you any money.
No way. My parents have been spending a lot of money on my sister, and they can't afford it anymore. That's what happens when you spoil her like that. You deserve it. My ex-husband had been living with them without a job because he thought he had a lot of money saved up. My sister spends a lot of money without thinking about the family budget, and it costs a lot to raise a child. Soon, his savings ran out, and they were in debt even with her parents' support. What are you going to do? Do something about the money.
Oh, okay. I'll get a job then.
But my ex-husband, who was treated as deceased, had no family register and couldn't get a proper job. What are we going to do now? We're in huge debt.
I never thought I'd have a second child.
I never thought I'd get pregnant again either. But it's your baby, so do something about it. My sister's tummy is huge, and their situation with the money seems hopeless. I don't know what happened between my ex-husband and my sister. I don't even care. As for me, I live a happy, peaceful life with my mother-in-law. Hey, how about Paris?
Paris? That would be wonderful.
I always wanted to visit Europe. You said you wanted to see Buckingham Palace too. Why don't we take a trip to Europe?
Really? This is like a dream come true.
My mother-in-law is the only family I have who truly cares about me. I will take good care of her, and we will continue to help each other.